Grace and peace from the Father God and our Lord Jesus Christ be with you all. We want to thank the Lord God Almighty for giving us this special platform where in modern times we can meet at this level. It's wonderful. As I'm in Ghana, some of you in Germany, in other places, all of us can hear this voice as all of us try to worship the Lord and seek to know Him in a personal way and serve Him out of the core of our hearts. Sorry for the time mess up. I was a bit confused about the time, but thank God that we're willing to come on board. At least the Lord will continue to bless us. What I would like to share with you is that the Lord wants our hearts and not only our religious acts. So God wants my heart. He wants your heart and not only your religious acts. This is what I'm speaking about. God wants my heart and not only my religious acts. So as I continue, you would understand it very well. And the key passage that we are taking is Amos chapter 5, verses 4 and 5. Amos chapter 5, verses 4 and 5. I'll first of all take it from Modern English Version. It says that, indeed, that says the Lord to the house of Israel, seek me and live, but do not seek Bethel, and do not enter into Gilgal, or cross over to Beersheba, for Gilgal will surely go into captivity, and Bethel shall be no more. That's the passage I want us to dwell. And I'm taking it again from the New International Version, which reads, this is what the Lord says to the house of Israel. Seek me and live. Do not seek Bethel. Do not go to Gilgal. Do not journey to Beersheba. For Gilgal will surely go into exile, and Bethel will be reduced to nothing. The Lord wants my heart, but not only my religious acts. God wants your heart, but not only your religious act. When we are talking of religious acts, we are talking of things that we do to please the Lord or to serve the Lord. We do many things to serve the Lord. For instance, if I go to church, I am serving the Lord. If I pray, I'm serving the Lord. If I attend a convention, I serve the religious acts, which are very important. And we are supposed to do that. If I fast, I am still observing religious acts, which are all very, very good. But what the passage is saying, the theme that I've given is saying is that God, first of all, wants my heart. He does not only want my religious acts. So He's not just happy of me, say, doing my fastings and then praying and then giving my offerings or even my tithes or paying visit to one another or even preaching or teaching. This is not it. He says that these things too are important. That's why I say the Lord wants my heart, but not only my religious acts, which means that the religious acts are are also important. But God would like to get me, because He knows that when He gets my heart, all the other things will follow. So God wants my heart. Now, if you listen to the quotation that I've read well, we've got three things that are very important. The first one is a name called Bethel. The Bethel is very, very important. And then the second one is another name that is very important. That is Gilgal. Gilgal. And then the third one that is also important is Beersheba. Beersheba. The quotation is saying that the Lord says, seek me. You know, once you want to find me and live. If you find me, you have life. But if you decide to seek me at Bethel or at Gilgal or at Beersheba, you will not find me there. So first of all, come after me. Once you get me, then you have eternal life. So what was special about Bethel? And then what was special about Beersheba? And what was special about Gilgal? So these are the three areas that he actually chose. And then throw some lights on them and try to find out the religious acts that were connected with these three cities. Has to him. Then when they go to Bethel, Bethel will be important. When they go to Beersheba, Beersheba will be important. And when they go to Gilgal, Gilgal will be important. So now, I would like us to take, first of all, Bethel, the importance of Bethel in the history of Israel. Now, God called Abraham and then told him that he will give the land of Canaan to him and his offspring. In other words, his descendants, and that Abraham himself will become blessed. Whoever blesses Abraham will be blessed. And in case you happen to curse Abraham, you will be cursed. And that was quite serious. So when God told Abraham, Abraham had the faith to believe in what that unknown person had said to him. It needed great faith, because he did not know the Lord at that time. And nobody knew the greatest being in the world, the supreme being, who was the Lord God Almighty. But Abraham was able to believe the Lord, and when the Lord asked him that he should leave his home, he was able to do it. When he traveled, the second place that he went was Bethel. The second place that he went was Bethel. Then when he went to Bethel, he was able to put an altar between Bethel and the vicinity of Ai. So between Ai and Bethel, Abraham put up an altar. Then he had to leave the place and then went to Egypt and then came back to the place where he actually pitched an altar there. He pitched a tent at Bethel again and then worship on the altar that he had made there. Now, making an altar there was something that was very important. And what I like about it is that he said that Abraham made an altar and called the altar. The purpose of making the altar was to call the name of the Lord. To call the name of the Lord is to pray. So Abraham went to Bethel and then prayed. That is wonderful. A place that Abraham had called and prayed. And understand that God also answered his prayer. He continued to communicate with Abraham at Bethel. So Bethel had therefore become a symbol of God's presence. A place where Abraham put up an altar and a place that Abraham called the name of the Lord. Now, after Abraham had died, and Isaac had replaced him, and the blessings of Abraham had come on Isaac. Isaac ordered to bless one of them, and through it was Esau that Isaac had wanted to bless, but somehow Jacob came for the blessings and wanted to run away. And when Jacob ran away, he went to a place that he was tired and decided to sleep. He therefore took a stone and slept on the stone. Now, when he slept on the stone, he started having a dream. And in the dream, he saw a ladder straight from heaven that had descended to where he was. And angels was running up and down on the ladder. And then he saw somebody who appeared like a supreme one, special person on top of the ladder. And the person was speaking to him. And the God of God of your father Jacob, and I will be with you, and I'll give you the blessings of your father, and even the land that you are staying on, I'll give this land to you. So when he got up, he said, oh, wonderful. This place is no other place but the house of God. And so formerly the place was actually called Luz. And it was Jacob who said that no, this is the house of the Lord. And therefore he named the place Bethel, the house of God. And even anointed the stone that he slept on it. Those things were not very important, the anointing of the stone and other things. But what is wonderful was that Jacob actually thought that the place was the house of God. That's why he had that encounter. And yes, the place could be the house of God, since God is everywhere, and since Abraham also had elected an altar within the vicinity of Bethel. So it was right. Sometimes when you pray, the Lord surrounds you with his presence. And the presence of the Lord can even affect your clothes. It can affect wherever you have stepped to. It can affect wherever you move. And that is why even when Elijah died, the bones were able to resurrect somebody who was dead. So certainly, once somebody associates himself with the Almighty, that person becomes blessing. And associate here. However, what I want you to follow up is that the real blessings was with the man Jacob. The father, the blessings of the Lord alone. You should not forget that person. So if the Lord is with you, wherever you go and whatever you do, God is with you. So he had the presence of God there. The Lord revealed himself to him, basically because God had already blessed him. Let it be at the back of your mind that wherever you go, the Lord is with you. Now, some of you are living abroad. Wherever you are now, God is with you. His presence is with you. And you yourself have become the house of God. But Bethel had become a special place because Jacob had had a special encounter there. And Abraham also settled there, built an altar there. Beside that side, it was Bethel. When Jacob actually went back and he was returning, when he went to visit his uncle Laban, and he was coming back, God had to speak to him to come back. And when he was coming back, God spoke to him again that he should go back to Bethel, the place that the Lord had that special encounter with him. So God had even taken Bethel for himself. In fact, when he was speaking to Jacob, he says that the God of Bethel In other words, the God who spoke to you at Bethel is saying that go back to the land that I promised to give you. So he did not stay at Bethel, Adamara. That's where he settled. But then he said that no, I want you to go and settle at Bethel. So Jacob got himself ready, and then he told all his household that I want all of you to get rid of any idol that you have. If you have any idol, please put it aside. For we are going to Bethel, the place where God spoke to me and said he will protect me. And he has been faithful to himself and to me. And therefore, as we are going, do not take any idol with you. Now, I'd like to speak to you. Many people carry idols around. What is the idol that you are holding now? Some of you have special anointing oil as an idols. Some of you have collected many other things from some prophets, so-called prophets, apostles, bishops, and evangelists. And you know it. Some of you travel to one place or another. Some of you come to Ghana. You visit some of these places. And still you carry idols along. And the Lord is saying that throw away every idol that you have. So if you are holding any, he says he wants your heart more than any religious acts that you hold. So Jacob eventually went to Bethel. And therefore Bethel is a very important place. It was the place even where Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, that is where she died and she was buried. So Bethel had become a very important place in the annals, the history of the Israelites. And when the kingdom of Israel was divided into two, northern and southern, for political reasons, the king of the northern kingdom also raised another altar at Bethel. He said that, well, instead of even people going to Jerusalem, we don't want them to go to Jerusalem. Rather, they should elect raise an altar there. Those people can go there and worship. So Bethel had become a very important place for the people of Israel. That's how Bethel comes to the picture. Now, beside that one, there was another place that the people were flocking. And that is what the prophet said. And the place was called Beersheba. What is Beersheba? Beersheba was another important place in the history of Israel because Abraham made a covenant between himself and Abimelech. Abimelech realized that God had blessed Abraham. Abimelech realized that the presence of God actually was with Abraham. Abraham dug a well there, and Abraham decided to make a covenant between himself and Abimelech so that Abimelech wouldn't attack his people and they will not attack his people. So because Abraham dug a well another important place was the fact that God blessed Isaac. One of the quotations in the Bible that many people know about Isaac, beside his birth, is for the fact that the man was richly blessed until he became very, very worthy, and until he became very, very rich. The place where people said that Isaac Unamiya very money kesi, kusi se oye kesi, see a year Kesepa Ara. That is related with this song where you say this was something in relation with Isaac. And the thing happened beginning from Beersheba. There was this famine, and Isaac was trying to run away to Egypt, and God said, no, do not go away, just stay here. If you stay here, I'll bless you. And so when Isaac stayed within the vicinity of Beersheba, God really blessed him. He blessed him until he completely became very, very rich. So Beersheba is associated with richness. And when Jacob was going to Egypt, when there was famine in Egypt, in the land of Egypt, including Canaan, where then Jacob and his children were staying, his family were staying, and they eventually they discovered Joseph, and Joseph asked them to come. Before Jacob left, he came to Beersheba, and there he offered sacrifices to the Lord and called upon the name of the Lord, and the Lord revealed himself to Jacob and said, yes, go to Egypt. It is my plan for you to go there now, and I will protect you, look upon you until all what I've said concerning you and your descendants will be fulfilled. So you see that when we are talking of Beersheba, we are talking of a place that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob have all encountered the Lord in a special way. When we are talking of Bethel, then we are talking of a place with a rich inheritance. But these were not the only places that they were going. The other place that the prophet mentioned was Gilgal. The other place was Gilgal. And what was associated with Gilgal? Yeah, Gilgal too has very rich heritage. Very, very interesting. Interesting in the sense that when the people of Israel enter the land of Canaan, and Joshua was completely confused, and Joshua didn't know what to do, and then they needed to go to battle. It was at Gilgal that commander of the Lord's army revealed himself. Where the Lord revealed himself in a very special way, and Joshua saw that man, and he said, who are you? Are you on our side, or are you on the side of our enemy? He said, no, I'm not on your side, I'm not on the side of your enemy. I have come as the captain of the host of the Lord's army. So the captain of the host of the Lord's army, the commander-in-chief. And it was Christ Jesus who was revealing himself in human form to Joshua. So it was there that he commanded him, the place that God had to lead Joshua, that God had to direct Joshua, give him signs, give him confidence to be able to lead the people. So Joshua had an encounter at Gilgal, and therefore Gilgal is a very important place. It was the place that he set his campaigns, the conquest, how he started his strategies to conquer the whole land. The place was launched at Gilgal. So Gilgal was a very important place. And it was the first place of sanctuary and altar. The place where first they brought the tabernacle there, where they raised an altar for the Lord there. It was the place of sacrifices during the time even of Samuel. You see, Samuel settled there, and he offered the sacrifices to the Lord. So the tabernacle even some time ago was settled at Gilgal, and Samuel operated also from Gilgal for some time. So Gilgal was another important place. The place that the Lord has revealed himself to Joshua. The place that even Samuel had to operate most of his time. So these places were no ordinary place at all. When David was disturbed by his own son Absalom and came back, when there was victory and he came back, David was welcome at Gilgal. So Gilgal too was a very important place. So when the people of Israel realized that, yes, the Lord has associated himself with Bethel, the Lord has associated himself with Beersheba, the Lord has associated himself with Gilgal, these places became places of importance. And instead of the people giving their hearts to the Lord, they rather centered around these religious beliefs and practices. So when finally they settled in the land of Israel, and the Lord wanted them to serve him, instead of the people giving their hearts to the Lord, they think that when there is a need and you go to Bethel, the Lord will do it. When there is a need and you go to Beersheba, the Lord will do it. When there is a need and you go to Gilgal, the Lord will do it. The Lord therefore had to raise prophets to come and redirect the people's attention to control the Lord. So that the Lord is important, but I do not need better. You do not need better. What you need is I want your heart. I want you to commit your whole being to me. And if you seek me, wherever you are, you have life. So you see, sometimes you miss it. Now, when this COVID started, many people really were confused, and many people even started speaking against the Lord, even some against their leaders, against Christianity. Some also did not worship God wherever you are, because God is in you. And if you understand the concept of God, it is the values of beliefs. It's during times of crisis. During times of crisis, you still have to pray. You need to pray. During times of crisis, you rather have to do good to one another. Share what you have. If you have gift, God has blessed you. Some were not working, others were working. Some were having some sort of assistance from the government, from their various working places, their institutions, their companies. Still, you have to share what you have with others. And even you have to pay your tithes. Because it doesn't mean that God is not there, and it doesn't mean that you should still not worship God. It is there that you have to prove your true Christianity by assisting one another. Help the vulnerable, the one who is weak, assist that person. The one who needs your assistance, assist him. And do not also stop your religious act. God is not saying that religious acts are evil. No. You say that you Pharisees and scribes, hypocrites, you pay tithes out of everything that you do, out of mints and garments. In fact, they were paying tithes out of everything, even herbs, the herbs that they collect for their animals, they will still give tithes out of that. And he said that you should have consider justice and mercies. So he wanted them to show mercy to one another, and he wanted them to be just in whatever they are doing, fairness. And then after that, he said that, and you should not also stop that one. So the religious act is also good. But if God gets your heart first, then you would know that even you do not live for yourself. You don't live for yourself. If you say you don't live for yourself, it means you do not belong to yourself. The life I live in the flesh now, I live by faith. By the Son of God who has given me life. That is all. So he was saying that the life that I live in fear. The old man is dead. The old man is dead, and I because he's dead, I don't have any life of myself again. I live for Christ. So now he has things in him. Then all other things of his is the Lord. And then we should know what that the Lord has done, and because the Lord has every religious act of you, then the religious act
Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. Our Apostle Professor Opoku Onyinah will come on very soon again. We are having small technical challenges, and then as soon as we are done with it, we will just come back and then we will experience his live sermon. Continue to stay tuned with us while you listen to some of his songs. We are working very hard. Thank you for your understanding. God bless you.
To cross the Jordan, life may be hard and gloomy. The Lord will never forsake his own. My strength may dry up, and the shadow of death may overtake me. The Lord will never abandon his chosen ones in death and in life. I know him, the Lord, who holds my hands and leads me on to cross the Jordan. Life may be hard and gloomy. The Lord will never forsake his own. My strength may dry up, and the shadow of death may overtake me. The Lord will never abandon his chosen ones in death and in life. In death, in life, I know him, the Lord. The Lord holds my life and leads me. In death, in life, I know him, the Lord. The Lord holds my life and leads me. In death, in life, I know him, the Lord. The Lord holds my life and leads me. In death, in life, I know him, the Lord. The Lord holds my life and leads me.
Stay tuned.
Owned by the Lord, who knew me before I was formed in my mother's womb. Yet life is dim and fearful. He assures me of his ever-presence. Death stings, body decays. Yet I wake up clothed with heavenly body. I'm welcomed by the host of angels and saints to heaven's sweet home. I'm owned by the Lord, who knew me before I was formed in my mother's womb. Yet life is dim and fearful. He assures me of his ever-presence. Death stinks, body decays. Yet I wake up clothed with heavenly body. I'm welcomed by the host of angels and saints to heaven's sweet home.
Praise the name of the living God. Our daddy is here. Everything is set. It's going to run up. And please listen. So I hand over to our dear daddy, Apostle Professor Opoku Onyinah.
Praise God. I did not know that it had frozen, so I actually continued to till the end. I'm not very sure of where we are, but I was relating to the fact that sometimes we center ourselves around religious acts, forgetting the most important aspect of getting our hearts to God. But God wants to get our hearts. For instance, you see, when God gets you, I brought in Paul, who says that the life I live now, I live by faith by the Son of God, who actually arrested me. He got him, and then now lives in him. So his life was no longer a life that belonged to him. It belonged to Christ himself. And God knows that once you belong to him, once he gets your heart, you get everything of yours. Because you will know that if you belong to God, then what about the other things that are following you? Your very life, your money, your buildings, everything of yours. So God wants our hearts. And I'm saying that it is during time of crisis that we know the one that we believe. And it is during these periods too that God will like us to follow him. For instance, during the COVID-19 challenges, I said that we need to know that we should help one another. The neighbor, the poor, the vulnerable, the weak, the one who needs your assistance. You have to help all those people. Because in the midst of the crisis, some people could still get some sort of assistance, either from the government, either from their companies, their institutions, or wherever they work. So once you get something, you should be able to accept the one who hasn't got anything at all. That is Christian religious acts. This is the religious acts I'm talking about. And once you are able to do that too, you should also not forget that you should have to pay something like tithes. They are part of the religious duties. And I quoted Matthew 23:23 when Jesus spoke to the Pharisees. He condemned the Pharisees, you hypocrites. He said, you scribes and Pharisees and scribes, hypocrites. You those people who gives tithes out of everything that you have, the comings, the means, and everything. Yet you forget the most important aspect of life, and that is, he said, mercy and justice. Being fair in whatever you do, being just in whatever you do, showing compassion to one another. Then after that, he said, you should not also put aside the other one. That is the tithe that he condemned them of. So when you are talking of God getting the heart of people, once he gets you, you are balanced. You'll be able to know what to do at the right time. Sometimes I have a great challenge with people who says that we are Christians. Somebody will say that I'm a Christian and then begin to abuse people. A Christian is not supposed to abuse his child. You have to dialogue with the child. The child is not supposed to abuse the parents. He has to respect the parents. And the Christian is to respect one another. Those people around you that are elders, pastors. Some Christians are able to speak against such people. You know, when Aaron and Miriam even spoke against Moses, the Lord said that, were you not ashamed to do that? We are not fearful to do that. So Christians should value the Lord. We should value our faith. We should not just do things out of the blue. Our hearts is what God wants. I watched a clip about 2 months ago or 6 weeks ago, something like that, that had come from outside Ghana. And then somebody in Ghana made recordings to the aunt she served some time ago. And according to her, the aunt treated her very badly. That the treatment was so bad that this girl sent a message to the aunt. You see how you treated me. I am now married and I'm also pregnant. I'm going to give birth. My husband has given me stores and she went on blah, 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 blah. And so you see the disease that has come on. You and your children, you say that you've got children, you've got that, all of you are going to die. And then she also brought those cases and other things. Then after that, this woman shared the clip with her friends. Someone who contributed also said, you people Ghanaians, you don't know how to receive people. We come home, we bring you money, and you two are going to die. We are not going to give you money, we are not going to do that. And she also started hailing curses. All the three people who spoke. And as I look at this sort of Christianity, is this Christianity? Cursing one another. Those things are religious acts that God are against. Bethel became a symbol of idolatry. When God had directed that they should go to Jerusalem, the people were rather going to Bethel again. And it was wrong. God is saying that he needs your heart. So please, let your Christian activities become real. I was very happy during this COVID-19 presentations when I heard that somebody in Ghana, one landlord, a couple came out and said that, well, you know people are suffering. I know that those people in my household, they are doing their own business and the businesses are not flourishing. So I'm not going to take rent for so and so month. And later on, I heard that the couples were Church of Pentecost members. I said, praise God. This is the sort of Christianity that we want. Putting our Christian faith into practical life situations. So, beloved, God wants you wherever you are. And even now, as you are staying in your homes, it is this you have to prove that you are a Christian. Let all this come to the forefront. Let your faith work. Whatever you need to do to help one another. Do your Christian religiosities. Pray. When you need to fast. When you need to give your tithes, give tithes if you have got some income. If you haven't got income, you can't get money to give. But if you have got some money, you need to give income. You need to show love to one another. These are religious acts that are also important. But if you are not giving your heart, then you will not be able to do these things rightly. I pray that better will become important in your life if only you first of all give yourself to God. Bathsheba will become important place in your life. That is the place of blessings, the place of encounter. Bethel too is the place of encounter. And then Gilgal, a place where the Lord of Mighty, the captain of the host of the Lord, will reveal himself to you. That this thing will also become important in your life. May the Lord bless you and keep you, and may your heart completely be given to God, and do not forget your religious act.
Amen.